Hello, popcorn junkies. How are we? Nosferatu. He's such a good-looking chap. He's such a looker with his shiny head, his varnished nails, his filed, sharpened teeth. He's such a cool-looking dude. Anyway, Nosferatu. This is the new trailer. A new trailer has landed for the new Nosferatu, based on the original Nosferatu, directed by F.W. Murnau back in 1922. A Symphony of Horror, the original film was called. Nosferatu, A Symphony of Horror. Infamous for the fact that it had the extraordinarily black and white, incredibly German expressionist, you know, the silhouette, the shadow, and for me, perhaps one of the most creepiest literal incarnations of a vampire, because more often than not, I don't know if you find this, vampires are quite sort of, you know, they're quite sartorial, they're quite elegant, they're quite sort of clean living until, of course, they go in for the bite and then go and feed on things. So many different kind of vampire movies over the years, so many that have had sort of, you know, for me, I don't know, these kind of classic monsters can sometimes verge on the cliched, the ridiculous. So approaching Nosferatu is tricky, and Robert Eggers, the director of The Lighthouse, The Northman, The Witch, he's tackled it, and we've got an astonishing cast here. We've got Bill Skarsgård as Count Orlok. We've got Willem Dafoe in there. We've got Nicholas Hoult in there. Nicholas Hoult having recently been in Renfield, wasn't it? With Nick Cage playing Nick Cage's assistant, Renfield. We've got Lily Rose Depp in this, in the first thing we've seen her in since her really, I thought, quite wondrous outing in The Weekend as The Idol. Don't listen to what most people have said about that. I thought it was a sensational series. We've got Emma Corrin in here. We've got Willem Dafoe. Danger with Willem Dafoe is that he's verging and teetering into a pastiche of himself. He's beginning to throw in, I mean, he's always an indulgence to watch, but a little bit like Christopher Walken. It's kind of like when you see that Willem Dafoe's in the credit list, you're kind of hoping you're just going to get Willem Dafoe, which is a bit frustrating because you want a bit more from him than just that. Simon McBurney is in here too. The teaser landed a few months ago. Very exciting. I think the jury's out on whether Robert Eggers is an absolute winner. I mean, he's clearly an auteur. He's got his own vision. He's got his own approach. When there's something to like in his films, there's a lot to like. So there were huge sequences and moments and sort of atmospheric builds in The Northman, in The Witch, in The Lighthouse that were sensational, really interesting, really innovative, really creative. But you could argue that sometimes he slightly loses focus on plot. So maybe what we could have here is quite a clearly defined story, a gothic tale of obsession based on a strong narrative arc. And that might give old Robert Eggers the kind of strong story arc that maybe some of his other films have sometimes lacked. And without further ado, let's check this out. There's also Aaron Taylor-Johnson in there too, for those of you who like Aaron Taylor-Johnson.
Come to me.
Okay.
Come to me.
Ooh.
I've never shared my secret with any soul.
You've had these spells since childhood. Tell me what you can from the beginning.
It is like a dream. It was our wedding. When we turned around, everyone was dead. The stench of their bodies was horrible. Standing before me was death. But I'd never been so happy.
This creature is a force more powerful than evil. Its desire is to consume all life on Earth. Only you can redeem us.
He is coming.
There is a devil in this world, and I have met him.
But you could never please me as he could.
thought that was a rather nice trailer myself. What say you? I like the fact that we've got colour and monochrome, a sort of blue tinted monochrome, beautifully shot. You've got to give him credit where credit's due. Every single one of his shots, he's not like Wes Anderson. These are like ornate, mini theatrical kind of sets. You know those kind of toys you used to get, which would have the layers of kind of different parts of a theatre set, and you'd build them in a sort of relief. It has that. They're sort of ornate. It's gothic. It's truly gothic, right down to, I think every one of Robert Eggers' films has had his name, a film by Robert Eggers against a sort of pine forest. So the colours are beautiful, the sparse, the sort of bare, the cold, the kind of bony sort of colour, a sort of bony blue. And then the idea that death is haunting them, the stench, the smell. I mean, what I'm kind of hoping for from this is maybe this will take us back to the absolutely archetypal kind of origin of a good vampire story, the original Bram Stoker-esque kind of gothic, real, creepy, echoey, empty. You know, it's that thing that when you actually make, like Game of Thrones was good at this. If you have a castle, rather than making the castle have all the home comforts of modern life, make these places sparse and spare and inhospitable. And so consequently, we very much had that. With Lily Rose Depp in there too, clearly the sex quotient goes up. She wants to be satisfied. He doesn't satisfy her enough. You've got rats, you've got plague, you've got just a sense of proper good old Victorian kind of Transylvanian sort of sauce and lots of coffins. And I have to say, I quite like Simon McBurney there in the cell saying he's coming and the hand coming out. Very, very atmospheric, very ornate and beautifully clever, that sort of, you know, billowing curtain with the silhouette of the crooked nose and the bald head. I mean, all I ever think of when I look at Nosferatu, or this iteration of a vampire, is I think of the guy in What We Did in the Shadows, you know, the kind of film by the Flight of the Conchords bunch, Taika Waititi, you know, that vampire. He's a creepy vampire, but the idea that the vampire has an allure, has a sort of romantic pull, a sort of darkly romantic bloodletting. So I have to say, the teaser kind of verged on the was on the verge of tipping into kind of Willem Dafoe sort of satire and comedy, whereas this has reined it back towards an authentic gothic horror. Nice.